Today is a great, wonderful, amazing, incredible day, and I'll tell you why, because it's a Finland day. This is why Finland sucks, apparently. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
While normally on this channel we talk about the positive parts about living, studying and building your career in Finland, in this video we are going to take a different turn and go through 5 reasons why you should not move to Finland. While normally on this channel we talk about the positive parts about living, studying and building your career in Finland, in this video we are going to take a different turn and go through 5 reasons why you should not move to Finland. What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. If this is the first time we are meeting, my name is Oliver and I'm a master's student in economics at Aalto University in Finland, and on this channel we talk about education and early career development, specifically here in Finland. So if you are new here, do consider subscribing. Alright, so let's jump right into it. The first reason why you should not move to Finland is the fact that ours is one of the most expensive countries in Europe.
I have heard this. This is why I'm like, oh god, when I come to visit, it's gonna be an expensive trip. Well, the whole of Scandinavia and all the Nordic countries, because I know you're not in Scandinavia, it's very, very expensive. So I'm trying to save my pennies before I come to Finland. But I'm guessing there's a way to kind of be in Finland and not spend all your money. But yeah.
Everything from your rent to groceries to alcohol is expensive compared to many other countries, and you will most likely be shocked by the local prices, especially if you come from outside of Europe. So not only are most goods imported to Finland raising consumer prices, but most importantly, prices are impacted by the high value-added taxes or VAT. So Finland has a relatively high VAT that is added to all goods consumed, and with a general VAT of 24%, Finland ranks high even in European standards.
That is high. 24%. That is high. Where's my phone? I'm trying to figure out what ours is. 1 second. Let's get my phone into this shot. Our VAT, guys. What is the UK's VAT? UK VAT rate. 20%. Oh, wait, okay. So you're not that far away from us then. 5.5% higher. It's still higher, but it's not that bad.
With only 4 countries using a higher percentage. In addition to the high VAT, some specific product categories have also been imposed additional excise taxes.
Sorry, I saw that, but I kind of just see Sweden and Denmark are also 25%. So yeah, like it's mostly Scandinavian and Nordic countries.
In addition to the high VAT, some specific product categories have also been imposed additional excise taxes that raise their price even more. These products include things like alcohol, tobacco, and soft drinks. Also, in addition to the high living costs, something that you should also take into account if you are looking to study in Finland is that Finnish universities have relatively high annual tuition fees for people who come from outside the European Union. However, it is also good to know that Finnish universities also have really good scholarship options for those of you who have to pay tuition. If you are interested in studying in Finland, I have videos both about tuition fees and scholarships in Finland that you can check out right here. So as a great segue from the first point, the second reason why you should not move to Finland is because of the high personal income taxation. So Finland...
High income tax. You see, these types of taxes really affect people that are working for an employer, right? People who pay income tax. It doesn't affect business owners. It's not they're not affected by income tax as much. It's mostly the middle class and lower class of society that gets affected by high income tax rates. So I'm not a big fan of high income tax. I do know, like, you know, a lot of it goes towards, you know, supposed to go towards, you know, benefiting society, but I don't know. How do you guys feel?
Uses a progressive tax system, meaning that the higher your salary, the higher your overall tax rate is.
Yeah, but the higher your salary, what he's talking about is doctors, lawyers, managers of a supermarket. You know, like these are good jobs, but these are like higher middle class. But once you go past the middle class, once you're like a rich person or upper class person, they don't pay income tax. So you think you're taxing the highest income earners, but you're actually just taxing the highest middle class earners. So the doctors and the lawyers and the head teachers and people like that, you're taxing them. You're not actually taxing the people that earn the most in society.
As well. So the exact tax percentage you need to pay will depend on many different factors like your salary, the type of income you are receiving, as well as your municipal tax rate. But to put this into simple terms, Finnish marginal tax rates starts from around 8% and go all the way up to almost 60%. So before I give you a few examples, do note that other type of income like capital 60%? Gains are, of course, taxed differently. And if you are interested in learning more about Finnish taxes, I have links to a few resources in the description box below. Anyways, just to go through a couple of examples for income tax, if you earn 30,000 euros per year, you are taxed at around 23% with a marginal tax rate of 36%. An income of 50,000 euros is taxed at around 33% with a marginal tax rate of 49%, while an income of 100,000 euros is taxed at a whopping 43% with a marginal tax.
So basically, how do you guys keep your like doctors and your lawyers and your like top guys? Like, how do you keep them? Because that tax is hefty. It's not even worth. If I earn like that type of money, like 100 grand, I think I'd move to another country because I'd be like, I don't know if I'd want to be taxed like that. I don't know. Like half your income's gone. Yeah, I don't know. What do the people that earn the most in your society, like middle class, high earners in your society, feel about these high tax rates? I'd like to know. Let me know in the comment section because it is a hefty amount. It's okay for the people that earn, like 30 grand under, those types of people that don't earn a lot of money. It probably benefits those people more than it benefits the people that are high income earners in the middle class.
Tax rate of approximately 60%. Again, your personal tax percentage will depend on many variables, and these numbers will most likely be different for each and every single one of you. The Finnish tax administrator has a really good tax calculator that you can use to check exactly how much you would be taxed in Finland if you were to work here. Finally, one more thing about taxes. I really don't want to sound too negative about this, because even though we have very high tax rates, we actually get quite a bit for our money. For example, public healthcare that is free at the point of service, free daycare, and education all the way up to master's level studies. Of course, it would always be nice to pay less taxes, and I do recognize that this topic often raises agitated political discussions, so please try to stay constructive when discussing this in the comments. All right, so the third reason...
It can get heated when we talk about taxes. So guys, be nice to one another in the comment section when you discuss the taxes situation. Because I know taxes is just like, not everyone agrees with how tax should be sorted out in society. Like, everyone has a different opinion, so I know it can get heated.
Not to move to Finland is the unfortunate fact that it can be difficult for international job seekers to find a job here. So not only is job seeking more difficult for foreign applicants because information on where and how to apply for jobs is difficult to come by in English, but also because many basic jobs in Finland do still require at least some Finnish language skills. This is especially true with jobs where you are in direct contact with customers. So finding a job that does not require Finnish gets easier the further you get in your studies. But what is unfortunate is that if you are a student and you don't yet have a degree or prior work experience in your field, the kind of basic service sector jobs that I just mentioned are actually the ones.
It's the same. Sorry to cut him off, but it's the same in every country. Like, I currently am in Thailand for a short amount of time, and then I'm moving back to England next year. But in Thailand, like, you can't get a job just working anywhere because you can't speak the language. If you can't speak the language that the majority of the society speaks, then why would someone hire you? Unless, like he's saying, unless you have some speciality skills somewhere higher up in a company where they can't find someone with your specialist skills in Finland and they have to outsource that. But if you're someone that is just going there and wanting to do a job, an entry-level job, there's no reason why they would employ a foreigner who can't speak the language over a Finnish person who can and can communicate with customers, communicate with colleagues efficiently. It makes complete sense. It makes complete sense why it's hard for a foreigner to find a job. So really, you want to be able to like work online or something if you want to live in Finland, or learn Finnish.
Ones that you really need in order to get started in the Finnish labor market. So as you can see, this is where we hit a conflict because it's very hard for you to get a job in your field without a degree or prior work experience. But on the other hand, it's also super difficult to accumulate the needed work experience because you aren't able to apply for these basic level jobs because you don't speak Finnish. So, of course, this is a simplification and these do not apply to all jobs in Finland. However, it is good to recognize that finding a job in Finland, especially in the early stages of your studies, is not going to be easy. To make things even worse, another reason why it might be difficult for international applicants to find a job in Finland is that according to a research paper, a foreign name might actually have a negative impact on your chances to get a job.
What? That's terrible. That was a terrible freeze frame. A foreign name could impact you getting a job. Interesting. It's discrimination, though, isn't it? To have a foreign name and then someone like, I don't want to employ you because you got a foreign name. But is it discrimination? Because actually, that can happen in the UK. You look at an applicant, you look at a CV. I don't want them. They've got a name I can't even pronounce. I don't want them to work. How do you get around that? Like, how do you get around that? You'd have to change your name to a Finnish name. If you wanted to live in Finland.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what to say. So yeah, there has been a lot of talk and anecdotal evidence about discrimination in the Finnish labor market, but a paper by Aklag Ahmad, a researcher at the University of Helsinki, unfortunately confirmed this using a large-scale experiment done between 2016 and 2017, where he sent 5,000 fake job applications under Finnish and foreign names in order to find out if a candidate's name affected whether they were invited to an interview. So according to Ahmad, people with Finnish names but with similar qualifications were invited to interviews far more than people who were presumed to have a foreign background. So again, this is insane considering that those basic level jobs are needed by, for example, international students who come to Finland to build their careers, but who, at the same time, cannot apply for jobs in their fields because they don't yet have a degree and they need that work experience to get their career started. So this makes me, at the same time, both extremely embarrassed and angry in so many different ways I cannot even put it.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, just to play devil's advocate, who are you, so racial biased and like biased over, like being biased over like where someone's from, it happens all the time. Doesn't make it right, but it happens all the time. You look at a name, I can imagine it's 2 CVs on my table. I look at one name is David O'Neill. and the other name is Shahida Mohammed. Okay? I'm like, Shahida Mohammed, David O'Neill. The job requires me to speak English at a proficient level and communicate. Say it's a front-facing job and you need to speak English really well and communicate really, really well. Should I invite both of them to an interview? Yes. Will I have preconceived ideas or preconceived viewpoints on who each of these people are and what their abilities will be? Yes. Will I presume that Shahida Mohammed can't speak English very well? Yes. But should I be like, oh, I'm not going to give her an interview because she's got a foreign sounding name? No. Everyone deserves a chance to interview. But I'm still going to go into that interview with a preconceived bias, an idea of who I'm going to employ. It's like I'm probably going to employ David because David is probably going to speak English better than Shahida. But I don't know that. Shahida could have been born in England and speak perfect English and actually be better for the job, smilier, friendlier, more approachable than David. David might not give a crap about the job. Do you know what I mean? But everyone has a bias about somebody until they meet them. So, but there needs to be a system in place somehow where you're not able to discriminate someone based on their name. You have to give someone a chance, especially if they have the credentials, similar credentials. Like, but then if you get 100 CVs that land on your desk, you're gonna have your biases. So, it's a difficult one, isn't it? It's a difficult one. Yeah.
Next reason why you should really consider whether moving to Finland is the right choice for you is the darn language. So the Finnish language is extremely difficult to learn, and while I do constantly tell people on my channel that you do not need to speak Finnish in order to do well here, to be honest, speaking at least some Finnish will definitely help you find a job, especially in the beginning, and it will definitely make it easier for you to integrate into the country and to the culture. So
absolutely, like if you're gonna live somewhere, you have to learn the language. You do. I say that I can't speak Thai and I live in Thailand, but the thing with Thailand was for a short amount of time I actually worked in a English school. Surrounded by a lot of English people. So when you're immersed with loads of English people around you, it's harder to integrate into a society. So, but if you're going to go to Finland and you really want to be there long term and you want to, I still believe learning a language is very, very, very important. But like you said, Finnish is very hard to learn, so
not only is the Finnish language very much different from all the other European languages, but it also differs from the other Nordic languages as well, all of which share at least some common themes, pronunciations, and grammatical structures.
It's a shame about the Finnish language. Not that your language is bad or anything. I love the sound of the Finnish language. It's just a shame that your language is not similar to Swedish, Norwegian and Danish, because the perks of learning Finnish is not as high as the perks of learning Swedish or Norwegian or Danish, because if you learn one of those languages, you can almost get around those three countries and like speak the language and understand one another. But if you learn Finnish, it's only really used in Finland, right? Finnish is not really used outside of Finland. So that's why probably people are like, do I need to learn Finnish? I'd only be able to use it in Finland. It's one of those things. It's like English. Like English is, if there's any language to learn, I mean English, Chinese, maybe Spanish, French. These are like the big languages that are spoken all around the world. Finnish is only spoken in Finland. So maybe that's why you get less foreigners wanting to learn the language. I don't know. And it's hard to learn.
This means that when you learn Finnish, you will have almost no use of prior languages that you speak. I'm sure that you have all seen the memes around this topic, especially talking about the impossible amount of conjugations that the Finnish language uses. Actually, in the Nordic countries, there is a running joke about this, because when we meet up with other Nordic people, say Swedes, Norwegians, and Danes, the only reason we have to change to English is because Finnish isn't even close to those other Nordic languages. So while this isn't 100% true, I still think it summarizes the irony quite well. So another crappy thing about this is that if you want to move to Finland as a student, the language barrier also applies to certain schools and fields. For example, there are a lot of people who would like to come to Finland to study nursing and other healthcare-related fields, which, by the way, is great because we have a huge deficit of talented healthcare workers. However,
like in every single country in Europe,
most of the schools teaching a degree in, for example, nursing, require you to already have B1 or B2 level Finnish skills just to apply. So while
But I agree with that. I also worked in, you're probably like, you've worked in a school and you've worked in a hospital. I've had a lot of jobs, guys. I've had a lot of jobs in a lot of fields. But I worked in hospitals for 4 years. Recently, actually, up until the end of the pandemic. Probably one of the reasons why I left working in a hospital, because it was very crazy. But I really do agree that someone who's working in healthcare it's imperative that that person can speak the native language of the country. You need to be able to communicate with patients. You cannot work in an English hospital and not speak English. I'm so passionate about that. You could never, I would not expect someone who cannot speak Finnish to work in a Finnish hospital. You need to be able to communicate with your patients. This is life or death. People are ill and sick. You need to be able to communicate clearly and concisely. So yeah, I'm not mad at the fact that you need, you say B1 or B2 level Finnish?
I do understand this because nurses are in direct contact with patients, and communicating with them effectively does require you to speak the same language. If we have a huge shortage of skilled workers, why can't we just make the applications easier and just teach people Finnish during the studies?
He's got a point there. In the UK, they've actually started doing that. Not at the nursing level, but at the assistant nurse level. So we call them healthcare assistants or clinical support workers or assistant nurses, care workers. Those people, there's a lot of names for them. Those people, you actually can get, there's a lower barrier to entry. You can, a lot of the times, just, get those jobs. It doesn't matter if you have a great command of the English language, or you have to do a thing we call key skills, which is a bit like his B1, B2. It's like an easier version of learning English and a basic knowledge of English in the working environment. And you have to study that to then be able to do the job proficiently. So we have that in England, and that's for assistant nurses. Assistant nurses do a lot more than they used to as well when it comes to patients. But nursing, where you're counting medication, you need to get the right milligrams of medication, you need to do a basic level of maths, you need to write notes on the system, you need to communicate with doctors, liaise with therapists. You need a basic level. You need more than a basic level English. You need to be proficient in the English language. So Finnish, it should be the same when it comes to nursing or any healthcare front-facing job.
Anyways, the next reason not to move to Finland is, as in many other European countries, Finland is well known for the stupid amount of red tape that you have to go through in order to do, anything. No matter whether you want to set up a business, apply for government subsidies, or get a residence permit for work, getting through all of the bureaucracy can sometimes be a nightmare because of the needed paperwork and the lengthy procedures. So I'm actually going to make a separate video about this topic in the future, but the Finnish immigration service has actually been criticized quite heavily during the last years, especially by business owners who have become frustrated with the amount of hoops they have to jump through in order to get residence permits for potential international employees. This is actually a huge problem for Finland because we have a growing need for highly educated international talent, especially in highly specialized fields like computer sciences and IT, but the red tape is stopping many of these people from being hired by Finnish companies.
Yeah, you have to make a country attractive for foreign talent. It has to, because they're just going to go somewhere else. They're just going to go to somewhere where it's easier to get into. The barrier to entry is lower. It's just, there's less bureaucracy. People are just going to go there. Same as businesses. Businesses will flock to countries that are less hostile when it comes to taxes, when it comes to trade, when it comes to all this type of stuff. They're going to go where, and companies are not going to go to Finland if like they can't get the talent. Do you know? So yeah, it's just that it's something that every country needs to work out. There's a lot of bureaucracy in the UK as well, and people are leaving the UK in I don't know about Finland, but people are leaving the UK in droves. It's funny. I watched a video of a guy from Finland. He does travel how to become a digital nomad in he's Finnish in Thailand, in Bali, in Southeast Asia, and I watch a lot of his videos, and he clearly upped and left Finland and decided to live in Southeast Asia like permanently, and he's a Finnish guy. So I just think Europeans in general are just leaving Europe, and we're having there's a crisis, and the effects of it won't be immediate, but I think in the next 10 years, I think Europe is going to struggle because a lot of the young people, Gen Z, they don't want to, it's not that they don't want to work, but they don't want to work in the conditions that were set up by prior generations. They're not willing to work their ass off for minimum pay. They're not willing to live in a country that has a high cost of living. And I think it's just something that Europe is going to struggle with in the future, and we need to make it more attractive for young talent to stay in our countries, for sure, 100%. Anyways, that's a topic for another day, but I don't know if you guys agree, but yeah, we're losing our young talented people. We really are in our countries, and we can't afford to lose them. And especially as we tighten our borders, and we're tightening our borders because we don't want certain immigrants maybe that are not high-skilled workers. But yeah, it's interesting that we're getting a lot of immigrants, some that are talented but not enough. Like probably the majority are asylum seekers, are people that are coming over to our countries for the benefits and for the safety because their countries are in turmoil. And then our skilled workers are leaving our countries to go elsewhere. It's not looking good for Europe. It really isn't. I don't know. Something needs to be done. Anyway, sorry. That was a whole rant, and yeah. Let's move on. Let's continue the video. Let's finish the video.
So, as you can see, even though Finland is a great country, and I still recommend you guys to come here to study and build your careers, our beloved homeland, like every other country, is not perfect. Anyways, if you found this video interesting, do give it a thumbs up and share it.
It was interesting. Sorry, I went off on a tangent with talking about immigration and stuff. But I do, yeah, we're losing talent, and yeah, we need to do something about it. We need to make our countries a lot more attractive to young people. I think young people are waking up, unfortunately. They're waking up and being like, oh, actually, the grass is greener on the other side. So don't know, guys, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon.